Welcome to GigaBrain, brought to you by Spell Labs. This is the podcast where we speak to the smartest minds across the DeFi space, exploring the ideas, innovations, and people shaping the future of crypto.
And we are back. Guys, thank you so much for being here with us today. We are back with another amazing episode here with Telaga and Esty. So Telaga is a previous UK PhD cancer researcher that moved into crypto as a founder after launching his decentralized exchange on Blast, and now a founder of Nest, a MetaDex and a Hype engine on-chain, a digital asset treasury on HyperLiquid. Esty is a DeFi maxi, personal friend, living in Thailand, which I love, maxi and senior growth marketeer, biology and sports science background, and moved into crypto in 2019. Guys, thank you so much for being here. And to kickstart things, maybe Telaga, if you can kickstart, tell us a bit about your background, why you started in crypto, what did you do before, if you did TradFi or not, or and why Nest today. And then I will also want to hear a bit of Esty, why crypto and why Nest today.
Sure, man. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I think, my background's a little bit different. So I started in academia, did my undergraduate in biochemistry, did a master's in drug discovery and a PhD in cancer research. So very much focused on science. Did my PhD, published papers. And then around sort of COVID time, we all got sent home. We were also being paid our salaries, so we didn't know really what to do with it. And at the time, me and my girlfriend, we wanted to go traveling. That was sort of idea after the PhD, and discovered crypto, just found out about, we were like, oh, maybe we should put some money in stocks and shares. Let's see what's out there. How can we, make something here? And found, Bitcoin, ETH. It was around, I think, February 21, and ADA and all these other things had pumped like crazy amounts. So I was like, wow, if I'd put money into this like 3 months ago, we would have paid for our, traveling costs and all the rest of it. So started listening to podcasts. I think it was Laura Shin, listening to everyone I could, like just became obsessed with the whole idea and loved the principles of decentralization, immutability, looking at things like the financial crisis in 2008. I think there was a lot of anger, myself included, around how the banks were just bailed out. And I thought, okay, this could be a way that we can build better financial systems, give users better access to savings and all the rest of it. So anyway, started trying to trade, trying to make it. I was watching crypto YouTubers for around a year on their calls, like buy this, buy that. Funny enough, I made zero money in a whole year. Some you win, some you lose, and then you find out that they're giving you the call, and then you're getting dumped on. But then the big break for me was the Solidity protocol that Andre Cronje released, and I thought, okay, this guy's a big builder. I'm gonna learn everything about this and really dive deep, and figured out that I think it was called RDL at the time. It was a small token that had a lot of voting power, but no one had bought it. And I thought, okay, well, this is going to get a lot of emissions when the DEX launches this new V33 model. I bought it. I think it went up like 3-4x. And then after that, this thing came out called SolidSex. I'm not sure if you guys were around then. And it was like this, I think, convex layer for Solidity, if I remember correctly. There was like OXDAO, which I was in, and VEDAO, which is the guys from Eridra, they started there. And I think there was something wrong with SolidSex, and it was just putting out crazy amounts of emissions, and it was like 40,000% APR or something like that. And I was in the lab at the time on my laptop. I had an LP, and in science you're earning like PhD 20k a year in pounds, right? And okay, I started with like 5k, I got to like 15, I couldn't believe it. And then I'm in this LP with 40,000% APR, like just getting the page up and harvesting and selling every hour, 2, 3, 5k. I just couldn't believe what was happening. And I'm just in the lab looking around like, you guys have no idea what the hell is going on here. How is this happening on my laptop? And then after that, I was just hooked, into crypto, managed to go traveling with my girlfriend because of that. And then connected with my co-founder now, Finesse Satsi. He was running a MetaDex. a V33. And I was like, look, I know a lot about the model. I think I can do some tweets for you. I was just in the Discords like everyone else, waiting for the team to make announcements. And I was like, is this going to pump or not? And I was like, okay, I need to get behind the curtain here. I need to figure out how to get up. And he brought me on, thankfully. And we just got really friendly. He's a great guy, and decided to launch Phoenix on Blast, and then that evolved now into Nest on HyperLiquid. So bit of an unconventional journey. Still love science and that, but it's been really great to have the freedom to build, be a founder, and it's been a really exciting sort of 2 years.
Amazing, man. Amazing. No, like this reminds me also. So I've been in crypto since 2013. So I started in BTC even before ETH. So I started buying BTC at $100, and I opened actually the first Bitcoin mining company in Portugal 12 years ago. And you were saying about opportunities. And actually today, during one of my meetings in the morning, I was actually telling a story about how I missed the ETH opportunity, because I thought that ETH was a scam at the beginning, because I had an advisor from the Imperial College of London, and he came to my office and he literally said, João, there is a new currency called Ethereum, and it's at 50 cents. I think we should mine it. And because I was running the mining operations for BTC, I was like, what? There is no other coin. This is a scam. So I told him literally, like, go fuck yourself, I will never believe in all this bullshit. What is this ETH? There is only BTC. And years after we reconnected, I was literally at his home in UK, and we almost got into a fight. The guy was like, dude, because of you, I could be a billionaire. And I was like, man, I know, I'm sorry, and now I will never doubt anything again, So, man, but those are the stories that make crypto, right? And it's now we know this is actually for real. This is different. This is something bigger than us. So that's why we are here, right? That's why we are building every day. Esty, please let us know your stories, your hot takes.
Basically I was in uni, studying in my town, and you know how it is, like a Telaga said, right? When you're in uni, you're a brokey, right? So like I was working as a part-time job, as a waiter at a Michelin restaurant. And like when you're like 20 years old, 19 years old, and you see like these like middle-aged people opening $1,000 bottles worth of wine and spend like 500 euro worth of food, and you're like, why am I this broke? This is my salary for the month, right? No, seriously. And I got annoyed. I'm like, why can I not do this stuff? And every single week I was seeing this and I got annoyed. And I thought to myself, well, I'm in Europe, I'm getting taxed to death anyway. So, and biology student, forget it, right? So I went into other markets, and then I found out Bitcoin. I found ETH, ETH was the thing right there already, right? And then I was like, well, what is this thing called DeFi? So, man, I got I went down the rabbit hole, DeFi. Then Node season came up. Then Wonderland came up, Daniele Sestegali, Wonderland. We all thought we were going to get Lambos with a calculator. We got rinsed. Then David Moss with Strong. We got all rinsed again. And, I was like, man, what is going on? Then, as Telaga said, VE33, Andre Cronje, the Phantom days. Oh my God, Phantom this and that, bribes, votes. Another complete rinse. I was like, God damn it. So I was losing all my money, right? So I was like, what, God damn it. So then HyperLiquid. I saw Jeff posting, the research papers saying, oh man, this dude is crazy. What a Harvard nerd. So started training on HyperLiquid. Obviously, I got rinsed as well in the beginning. I didn't know anything. And then one day I wake up and I look at the TNCs, and then it says your top 4,000. Okay, great. So I signed that stuff. And I was in Korea completely like drunk, and I forgot about it. And then one day I opened Bank, and I'm like, what? So, but I was working crypto. Yeah, but I was working crypto, right? So I was like, like from Discord to Discord mod to like social media to marketing, everything self-taught. And then one day I opened Bank, and I was like, this must be an error.
Yeah.
So I looked at the wall, it's not an error. So I was like, not bad. And yeah, just farming and, marketing hot takes, outing scammers, working with crack teams,
working hard. Working hard.
Fundamentals
that's what happens.
Marketer, right? I don't know. Yeah.
That's what happened, man. Like that's beautiful, because like, yeah, sometimes people are like, oh, it's luck. It's not luck. You worked really hard to achieve that. Like, you did all of these things, right? So I think that is like the difference between like the normies, which just go into the 9 to 5 thing and just like work as a robot, versus actually work using your brain, right? So that is a completely different way of doing things. And yeah, so for the listeners, for the first time listeners here that don't know what Nest is, if you can, guys, let us know what is Nest and why it's important and why are you building it, and yeah, what is the vision?
Yeah, absolutely. So Nest is a decentralized exchange on HyperVM, a MetaDex based on the V33 model, I think. And to be a little bit more shorter, it's a decentralized exchange that gives you access to amplified hype exposure and HyperVM fees. That's purely the base case there. I think the MetaDex model, as we've chosen it, is a great choice. If you look at all the growth chains across DeFi, typically what you see is that there is a dominant MetaDex, and it takes in between 50 to 80% of volume on these chains. You think Base, Aerodrome, Linear, I think EtherX, on Sonic it was Shadow, and there are various others across other chains. And what it operates really well as is a liquidity hub for protocols. So protocols can come, they can build liquidity, build it cheaply when compared to other models like Uniswap. But it also creates this really exciting sort of stakeholdership. So if you lock the token of a V33, you can direct where the emissions go, and you're incentivized to direct those emissions to the pools that generate the highest trading fees. So if you're a protocol that does great, you execute well, people trade your token more, you get more emissions, you get deeper liquidity. And then also the DEX then has a stronger capacity to build that. Because when you compare to a Uniswap model, you're just giving fees to the LPs, volume goes up and down, but you don't really have many levers to play with there in order to, sustain liquidity and all the rest of it. But I think what we're doing differently here is, there are many other DEXs, is we're HyperLiquid bulls, through and through, so bullish hype. Extremely, and this is what we saw at the start. I was like, I don't want to be on a DEX where you're putting capital in, you're getting fees. Okay, maybe you can sell that to buy hype, and just that logic we had internally as a team. We figured everyone's going to do the same, right? They're going to get our token, sell it to buy hype, because we would do the same, and LPs as well. Like, it's just the logical thing to do. HyperLiquid is such a great token. I want to accumulate as much as possible of it. So maybe you might keep a portion in the native token, maybe sell a little bit to hype. But so the solution there was, how do we give people access to hype through the DEX? And, we sort of played around with a few different ideas. We were like, okay, do we reserve a portion of the DEX fees, convert that to hype? Maybe hype appreciates over time. We give that back to the users for lock bonuses, protocol incentives to drive more users in. And that was the initial thought. I think other DEXs are doing that on HyperVM. But I think the light bulb moment came when we looked at sort of MicroStrategy and its outperformance on Bitcoin. We were sort of exploring leverage ideas. How do you get leverage on hype? Okay, we give users hype, but how do we give them a better version of hype? And then we settled on treasury mechanics, which quite simply are, you have a treasury token, and that gets backed by more and more hype over time. So you inflate the treasury token less than the amount of hype you're putting in. So that's how we got to the hype engine and on-chain treasury. And so if you're on Nest, I think the really great thing is you can lock for VE Nest. You can vote on the platform to get all the fees in the pools you won for, whether it's the Kinetic token that's coming up, whether it's on the Hype USDT pool, you can get those trading fees. Whether it's USDH with stables, you can get those fees. But then automatically behind the scenes, we're taking a portion of the DEX fees, we're putting it in the Hype engine and giving it back to you as MegaHype, which is amplified exposure to hype. So you can, and this all happens automated as well. So you just sit back, let the automated voting system vote for you, collect your fees, collect your MegaHype, and in 3 years, 2 years, 1 year, whatever it is, whatever your time horizon is, you will have more and more hype through MegaHype. So that's what we wanted as a DEX. That's what I think most people on HyperLiquid want, and that's why we built it the way we did.
Wow. Like, so I think you already answered like 3 or 4 questions in a row that I had for you. So I was literally going to ask about like, what's the biggest difference between Nest and other execution layers or trading interfaces? What's the secret sauce? I think you just nailed it right here. And so I will move to the hype part. So why do you think that hype is a valuable asset, and what makes it mega valuable? And why do you think that it's worth it to do what you are doing with a kind of a micro strategy treasury thing for hype? Like, why that is important for the user and for the community and for yourselves?
Yeah, I mean, I was a little bit late to HyperLiquid. I wasn't trading. I'm not a big trader myself. Back in the day, I tried a bit, with Solidly and stuff, looking for projects that would pump, but it was pretty intensive and sort of moved into more founding role and focused on that. So I didn't get the airdrop, but I found out about HyperLiquid as soon as the airdrop happened, and that was a big moment for us. It's kind of what the holy grail of crypto has been for a long time, finding a way. I think trading, speculation, perps especially, are probably the greatest product to come out of blockchain and crypto. And HyperLiquid was able to give you that, sex grade speed with on-chain permissionlessness, transparency, and security. It's good timing as well, coming after FTX. That can't happen again on HyperLiquid, which I think is a fantastic thing. And more broadly, the world is moving towards exponential tokenization, digitization. The NASDAQ is moving towards digitization. The piece of the pie, I think globally, is going to get a lot bigger around tokens. And so HyperLiquid, we think, is going to be one of the major trading venues for the next 10, 15, 20 years. I think also with AI coming in, there are going to be sort of allocation and yield and trading strategies that become automated, very complex and very well executed. And they're going to have to come on to something that is permissionless, quick and fast, and trades 24/7. But to, $1.4 billion of annualized revenue in 2.5 years with an 11-man team, I'll just stop there. If you consider that in TradFi, it would be much bigger than where it is now. And then now all of that is going into the assistance fund, buying back hype, 99% of revenue. It is, that's free cash flow in a TradFi sense, and exponential what's the word? Exceptional economics. It's taken decentralized exchange market share, eating into centralized exchanges, growing faster than Robinhood, faster than Coinbase. Like I said, I think this is a solid bet for the next 10 to 5 years. We're just going to see more users coming in, perps on equities, TradFi, FX. I really think it's a platform for the future. So I kind of forgot what the start of your question is, but that is why we're bullish on hype.
Why hype is important. So actually I have a second question about that. So you start something called the hype engine. Can you describe what it is and why it's important?
Yeah. So hype engine is an on-chain digital asset treasury. We've taken sort of treasury mechanics where, one of the key things for a DAT is to grow your, let's say, hype per share. And so we've remodeled that into a crypto system where you have MegaHype, the treasury token, and we have different ways of bringing hype into the treasury. And we're always ensuring there is more and more hype backing MegaHype, over time. And that's the fundamental thing there. Then what's key then is, hype is an extremely useful token. Unlike Bitcoin DATs, MicroStrategy, they rely on financial engineering to bring in capital to increase what they call the Bitcoin yield. I think hype as a DAT asset is extremely strong. And what you can do there is to actually create cash flow, create an operating business per se. You can stake it, you can lend it, or even better, you can build. What can you build that is the highest sort of revenue generating protocol? A DEX is probably one of the number one things you can do. And so we're pairing that with Nest. And I think 100 million TVL, we project around $40 million in fees. Let's say around 20 million of that goes into the hype engine every year, assuming we're the top DEX. For Hyperion, which is a great DAT, that is a significant yield for them and would demand significant premium to NAV multiples. We're doing this on chain. So I'll perhaps stop there because I could go on forever, but that's some of the key points behind it.
No, like I think Esty wanted to add something, so please.
I think, and I believe this goes also a lot deeper into everybody that's been on DeFi, because we're DeFi, right? OGs, great builders, whales, even, I don't want to be rude, but also like normies. The number one thing that everybody wants is capital efficiency and security, right? We all know all the hacks. Literally this week, complete disaster on chain, right? Liquidations, hacks, lenders getting wrecked. Building a proven model, building it on the best network from the L1, so the core and EVM. And furthermore, when you have that capital efficiency, this is the thing that TradFi looks for, right? If you compare DeFi slippage with TradFi slippage, it's disgusting, or how much slippage you have on chain sometimes. And when you have that MetaDex model, that flywheel, that growth, and the slippage becomes smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, like you can move larger amounts of money on chain, verifiable. It attracts the suits. That's number one. Number two, like Telaga said, the token is incredible. Like there isn't any other business model that is as OnlyFans, but other than that, there isn't any other business model that is as great as HyperLiquid. No, it's true, like HyperLiquid. And then number three, the gamification of the VE33 itself, which is how the votes work, how the bribing works. Okay, I don't want to get it's complicated, but how the bribing works, how the whole thing, and then channel that and basically build assistance fund number two. Obviously not as powerful as, $1.3 billion. Let's keep it real. But Nest is aligned with everything that Jeff, Julian, and the whole team set up. And we are following that path and are enriching the ecosystem. That is a message that I really want to put out there.
Mm-hmm.
And we're doing everything in our power to align and to benefit every party involved. LPs, traders, voters, anybody that interacts with Nest, anybody will benefit.
Yeah.
Something I want to add.
Yeah, just to add to that is...
Insane. Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, just to add to that is, I think that's the key. It's all about hype, driving more value to hype. But, we've taken a lot of inspiration, like Esty said, around the assistance fund. And you see that with USDH committing, 50% of the revenues towards buying hype. And we wanted to do the same. And I think actually every EVM protocol should be thinking about doing something like this, where, it's all about hype at the end of the day on HyperLiquid. So whether it's buying back hype with your revenues, we hope people will actually buy MegaHype and hold that because it's amplified exposure. And that's why we love the USDH partnership. I think Max had a really funny tweet. He's like, we're putting the stable coin that buys hype on the AMM that buys hype, allowing you to buy back hype and buy back hype, all of this. And I think there should be all of these relationships across EVM. And importantly as well for Hype Engine is, as a treasury in the same sort of ethos of community and support for HyperLiquid, the treasury will be deployed into HyperVM protocols. So, whether that's Kinetic, Hyperlend, whoever it may be, that are the top protocols, obviously the most secure protocols that are executing well. Then as the engine grows, so does HyperVM liquidity. So you look at some of the DATs, probably because they're from TradFi, they're not going to deploy their capital into the EVM as strongly as what the engine can do. Their job is to pitch to new investors to TradFi, right? They can probably just get their flywheels going because they're talking about billions of dollars, hundreds of millions, whatever it may be. I do actually think in the future, if the engine is a place where we're backing several HIP3 exchanges, we're getting revenues from the top DEX on EVM, and we're getting all the staking and lending yields, we're essentially packaging the entire ecosystem productivity into a treasury. So actually, all the DATs are going to come and invest into Hype Engine. And that's something we're actually working on right now, is showing this idea that we have hype, you have hype, we can do things on chain to grow the ecosystem. So I think that's really cool that as the engine grows, so does the the entire ecosystem. It's a new chain, and we have to be looking at it that we need to grow this, we need to make it better, and we need to improve everything around it. So that's the approach we're sort of taking with that too.
Perfect. And I actually have a follow-up question there. Like, so you were talking about building all these things on top of HyperLiquid to build the treasury part, etc. So what are the risks associated in building something so new in infrastructure that is also new? So in your opinion, to build a treasury company on top of HyperLiquid, what are the risks that you see as of today for a founder like yourself?
Yeah, I think, well, the number one risk for a treasury is, that no one wants to buy the underlying asset. So you've seen a lot of DATs here and there and everywhere for lots of different coins. So I don't think we have that problem. Yes, security is very important for the treasury itself. So we've spoken to various, institutional custody people like Anchorage. So we will be working with one of them, and they have things like biometric verification, third-party signers. There is no way that this treasury is going to go anywhere through any kinds of hacks. All the biggest DATs use Anchorage and BitGo, all these people, and we're going to be there too, so people can have the confidence that it's being managed properly. We'll also have conversations with capital allocators who could potentially help the treasury to put that forward. There's Kinetic iHype as well, people like Flowdesk, IMC that we've spoken with. We will be working with the top firms and also diversifying that treasury hype across the ecosystem. Then the code itself is audited. It's actually a friendly fork of the ETH strategy with sort of different flavor in the sense of we're doing it. So I think they're at like $60 million dollars worth of ETH. So we think we have a very secure protocol. In that sense, we will be doing things like convertible notes that we can perhaps dig into. So overall, we're very sort of confident in the setup that we have. And obviously, we will continuously audit, over time. Then it's all about the protocols that you interact with, and I think like Hyperlend, an RB fork is quite secure. We will be having more conversations with them as we go into the rollout. So it's very much about having, that risk adjusted basis. I think with the Nest, what's nice there is that the revenue is coming straight away into the treasury. So it's a direct link that, can't be hacked in that sense. So yeah, lot that goes into it. I think the other risk as well is, for a treasury is you're unable to compound your hype per share. I think that's a crucial thing to have that velocity. This is where the Nest comes in really beautifully. I sort of said before, $20 billion in fees potentially. That is really going to compound people's underlying exposure to hype alongside the bonds that we're doing. We're also doing like an LP ATM offering. So lots of different things and having discussions with HIP3 deployers. So it's a working picture, but very exciting.
Okay, man, send me that offer. I'm interested to look into it. It sounds a great one. I'm very bullish now. Very bullish. You are pitching already. You are pitching. I'm like, damn, I need to be in. I'm missing out. Nice. Guys, so switching here a little bit the conversation for more into the market perspective. I always like to ask two spicy questions to the people that I interview. One is, what do you think about the price of hype? Will it hit $100? Yes or no? And if yes, when? That's the first spicy question. Second one is, are we in a bull or bear market right now? And this you can expand. I've been having the craziest reactions to this question, so always like to ask. So I don't know which one of you wants to start. This is a question for both.
Hype is inevitable. Why is it inevitable? Let's assume, right, that we don't do anything. In 1.35 years, the assistance fund will have bought off the whole circulating supply. Done. It's math. Math is verifiable, and you cannot argue with math. That's one.
So you think that even can surpass the $100?
Easily.
To where? Where's your price prediction?
There is no ceiling.
There is no... And this is the most bullish thing I've ever heard.
No, I'm serious. Like, call me delusional bull, call me retarded. I couldn't care less. I believe in this. That's why, I'm on this chain. If anybody wants proof, I'll send you my wallet. Look at my wallet. All my money is on chain. It's on HyperLiquid and DeFi. Go ahead. Bull or bear, irrelevant for hype. Why is it irrelevant? There was an article by Lol L called The Narcissism and the Gamification of Gen Z. Meaning, Gen Z has the worst conditions to gain wealth. In America, for example, the income to house ratio is way off. Mortgages are disgusting. So what people are doing is they're hyper gambling their way to wealth or to disruption. Where do you do that? Pump fund or perps? Which perp has the highest market share? HyperLiquid. Which perp will continue to have the highest market share? HyperLiquid. Everybody gambles all day. It's one of the oldest professions to gamble. It's human nature, right? So globally, everybody gambles. So bull, bear, doesn't matter. It's HyperLiquid's market for the next 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. So I couldn't care less. I couldn't care less, honestly.
This is one of the best answers I've ever heard here, man. This is crazy.
No, I mean, but am I wrong though?
No, man, you are right. You're right. Man, I literally now I'm turning off this podcast and I'm buying more. I just need to buy more now.
10-10 happened. 10-10 happened. This today it crash. Asked everything else. Look at HyperLiquid OI. Healthy.
Yeah,
so healthy.
True. It's true.
Yeah, nice. Well, you didn't pick a very balanced panel, so we'll see what we have. But yeah, I think it will go to 100 in the next 6 months. Like Esty was saying, we're in a period right now in the market that isn't as strong as what it has been. Hype remains very, very strong. I think you saw like a hint of strength and it pumped 7% and it's sort of sticking around that $35 mark. There's not many sellers below that point by the look of it so far. But to the other point as well, you have all of this cash flow coming in that's going in to buy Hype. The assistance fund is the first digital asset treasury for Hype. You could think of it like, there is a company that is buying $1.4 billion of Hype every year. That's the assistance fund. And now you've got HyperLiquid Strategies who now have $2 billion. You've got Hyperion who are probably going to raise more. They raised around 80 million. And I'm sure more Hype dats will come along. So there, over the next few years, there's going to be billions of dollars of Hype buying from external sources, billions of dollars internally from the exchange itself. In my opinion, there might be macro things, economic things that come. You can't stop that. Hype will not be immune to that either. Let's not beat around the bush. It will go down if we have a proper bear market for whatever reason. I don't think there's any things here that make me think that there isn't going to be another 2022. That was FTX just being completely idiotic, not understanding how leverage works, and they blew up the whole system, 3 hours capital, all the rest of it. I don't see that same dynamic here again today. Sort of what perhaps they were calling the super cycle before, right? Sort of more ebbs and flows as it goes along. But even if we are in a period of downwards sort of momentum, more Hype supply is going to get scooped up. Revenues will go down probably, but more Hype supply is going to get scooped up. I think HyperLiquid is also diversifying, going into equity perps. There will be FX coming, Pokemon cards we've already seen, all these other things. So they have a more diversified basket of trading options coming in. So that will make it more resilient across any bear periods, and more Hype will get scooped up. So stablecoins are coming, Ethena, Paxos, Sky. Everyone's going to want to have their flavor of HIP3, USDH. I think stablecoins will just explode, and they were going to want to come to HyperLiquid. Possibly, new exchanges, new front ends are going to come and plug into that, build a codes of liquidity to offer trading services to their users. You can plug in and offer people a chance to trade anything. So I would say that $100 for sure by next summer, and 2,000 in 2 years.
Okay, man. That's a crazy answer. That's a very crazy answer. Okay. About the Hype price, I also think $100 in the next 1 to 2 quarters easy. about the bull market, what I've been actually discussing in this podcast is that the way the market is now is not a cycle anymore. It's a political market. It's moved by macro policy and politics. Because like right now you can go up and then someone says something on Twitter, go down. Then the next day Trump tweets something crazy, boom, mega bull. Imagine if the war between Russia and Ukraine ends tomorrow, you have a perma bull for like 2 years or 3, where everything will be up 10 or 20x easy, you know? So I think we are in a very politician type of market. And then you have all these big funds, the BlackRock, JP Morgan, Goldman. These guys are flooding with these billions and trillions, you know? Imagine when you see pension funds putting like 100 Bs in HyperLiquid, for example. It's perma-bull, right? So it's Esty, what Esty was saying, you know, it's perma-bull thing. So I do think that we might see some corrections happening, but we are in probably continuously bull market right now. So yeah, 100%. And guys, so we are arriving to the end. So I have one last question, which is what's next for Nests? You know, so if you can share maybe like your vision for the next 1, 2, 3 years, next big alpha that you can share, something new that is coming up, please let us know.
Yeah, so we'll have an exciting update today coming out. Nest is launching very, very, very soon. So watch out for that. I think there's a lot in the background that we haven't talked about yet. But I think we're building for the long term. I think that's important to say. We really do believe, and you'll see more and more from us as a team, that we're looking at the next 5 years and not just tomorrow, today. The main advice we have to get best exposure to what we're building right now today will be to lock Nest and putting in the Hype Engine Vault. That's all I can say there. We'll be releasing stuff you can see, but that is the 3.3, the 9.9, you know, the EV plus thing that you should be doing on the DEX to get access to the maximum value that we will be creating. Value that we're creating through trading fees and HyperVM, but value that we're packaging into MegaHype as compounding exposure to hype. So with the assistance fund buys, the DATs buying, all the yields that the treasury is going to earn, that's all getting packaged into MegaHype in a more powerful and amplified version. So if you want exposure to that and fees, lock Nest and put it in the Hype Engine Vault. Not financial advice, of course. Read the docs, understand what you're doing. Don't be silly, you know. But then, you know, looking to the future, we want Nest to be the central hub for HyperVM. We also want people from outside, from TradFi, to come in. I think that would be silly to ignore. We're working on things like that that we will soon announce as well, which is really exciting. I think, you know, you see in the US, the Genius Act, TradFi is coming to crypto, and we're building for that. We're building for that too. So I think that's an important thing, like you said. And HyperLiquid is what you in the US you call the Mag 7, right? And this is how these guys are looking at this. You know, what are the fundamentals? Which one is generating the most revenue? Which one is most sustainable? Which one's growing the fastest? That is the HyperLiquid blockchain. So you bet that these guys are looking here, and so we're creating the rails that will allow them to come on chain, and to bring them there. So yeah, that, you know, look out for the launch article. There's lots to come. We're building for the long term. You know, hype must grow. We believe in HyperLiquid. HyperLiquid.
Man, this is some of the most bullish podcasts I've ever recorded, and I've recorded already a lot of them. So guys, thank you so much for being here today. One last thing, can you shout out the website from Nest and also maybe your in Twitter's, personal or not, or the company one, whatever you would like, so that the listeners can also go and check you guys out, and of course ape into Nest immediately, because we need to do it.
Nice. Yeah, well, the website isn't live yet. We'll be putting that out. But go to Nest Exchange on X. Esty as well. Find him, myself, Telaga, my co-founders as well, Satsi and Ace, are also on X. We have a Telegram, Discord. Come, just chat, DM us. We'll have a call with you. I think that's one thing to say. HyperLiquid, the community has been amazing. Everyone's so open. Very, very different to other chains that we've worked on. So if you want to chat to us as a team, just send us a DM on Twitter and we'll hop on a call with you, whatever it is. And yeah, keep your eyes peeled for updates. And here we go.
Perfect. Esty, any last words too?
The last thing I want to say is very simple. If you want more hype perpetually, use Nest in any way, shape, or form. It's the only thing I need to say. Nest is your tool and gateway to more hype, whilst enjoying the best capital efficiency and the best proven model we have to this day on chain. Done. HyperLiquid. All hail Jeff.
Perfect. Guys, thank you so much for being here. Join us in the next episode. HyperLiquid, nothing else to say. We are back with another one very soon. Thank you. Cheers. Peace.
No, dude. Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
GigaBrain is brought to you by Swell Labs. To find out more about Swell, go to swellnetwork.io and make sure to search for GigaBrain in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Hit the follow button so you don't miss any future episodes. Thanks for listening.